Looking back, I can pinpoint the exact second my marriage died. It was not the funeral. It was not the burial. It was the precise moment the heart stopped beating. It was not dramatic. There was no screaming, no throwing plates, no discovering texts from another man. It was quieter than that. Deadlier, too. My name is Ethan. I am 48 years old. For the past 17 years, I have made a living helping companies merge, split, and restructure. I analyze assets. I assess liabilities. I determine fair value. I am good at it because I understand something fundamental. Most things fall apart long before anyone admits it. The paperwork just makes it official. I should have applied that wisdom to my own life. Vanessa and I had been married for 15 years. She brought Lily into the relationship, her daughter from her first marriage to David. Lily was 5 when we met. She is 20 now, finishing her junior year at Northwestern. Smart kid. Kind. For years, I thought maybe that is what kept us together. Me being the stable father figure she never had. Vanessa appreciating the structure I provided. I was wrong. The night it ended started like a normal Tuesday. I came home around 7:30. I had closed a deal that afternoon. A clean acquisition worth $42 million. I felt good. Loose. I wanted to share that with my wife. Maybe crack open a bottle of wine. Sit on the back deck. Vanessa was in the living room, scrolling through her phone. The television played something she was not watching. I walked over, arms open for our usual evening hug. Nothing grand. Just that small daily gesture that says, I am home. I am here. I am yours. She stepped back. Not a flinch. Not a stumble. A deliberate, measured step backward. Like I was trying to hand her something contaminated. Don't touch me, Vanessa said. Her voice was flat. Administrative. I am not playing wife tonight. The words hung there. Sterile and final. Not a complaint. Not even an insult. Just a job description she was clocking out of. I stopped moving. My arms were still half raised. Frozen in the space where she should have been. For maybe 3 seconds, I just stared at her, waiting for the punchline. The clarification. The just kidding, bad day at work. None came. Perfect, I said quietly. My hands dropped to my sides. You never will be again. Her eyes widened slightly. Just a flicker of confusion. Like she had expected a different script. An argument, maybe. Pleading. The usual dance where I would ask what was wrong. She would deflect. We would pretend it never happened by morning. But I was done dancing. I turned and walked down the hallway. Past the framed photo of our wedding day. Past the bookshelf I had built by hand. Past the closed door of what used to be my home office before Vanessa decided it should be her yoga room. I opened the guest bedroom door. Stepped inside. Locked it behind me. The click of the lock was soft. Polite. But in that silence, it sounded like a gavel falling in a courtroom. I sat on the edge of the bed. Stared at the wall. No anger. No sadness. Just a strange cold clarity. The kind I usually reserve for balance sheets and due diligence reports. Liability identified. Risk assessed. Time to restructure. Vanessa did not knock that night. Did not text. Did not call through the door asking if I was okay. And honestly, that told me everything I needed to know. By morning, she probably assumed I would be back in the kitchen making coffee. Asking what she meant. Waiting for her to smooth it over with some half-hearted excuse about being stressed or hormonal or tired. That is how it always went. I would poke. She would snap. I would absorb. We would reset. But I was not resetting anything. When she walked into the kitchen the next morning, the coffee was already brewed. 1 cup. Poured for me. I had eaten earlier. Alone. Out on the porch with my laptop. She stared at the single mug on the counter like it was evidence in a trial she did not know she was part of. I did not look up from my screen. You are being dramatic, she said, not even glancing away from her phone. I took a sip of my own coffee. The one I brought outside. You said you are not playing wife. I am just respecting the performance. She scoffed. God, 1 comment, and you act like I committed a crime. I finally looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time in years, I saw her clearly. Not as my wife. Not as Lily's mother. Just as someone I had been carrying for too long. An overhead cost that was no longer providing a return on investment. You did not commit a crime, I said evenly. You just quit. I am accepting your resignation. I stood. Walked back into the guest room. Locked the door again. That is when she realized this was not a fight. It was an exit strategy. And I had already drafted the terms. Vanessa expected the usual pattern. A day or 2 of cold shoulder. Then I would crack. Apologize for overreacting. We would slip back into our routine. That is how it always worked. Except I was not following the script anymore. Day 2. I got up at 5:30. Same as always. Made coffee. Only enough for me. I ate breakfast on the patio reviewing client files for an upcoming merger between two pharmaceutical distributors. The numbers were clean. The deal would close smooth. When Vanessa came downstairs around 7, she found the kitchen empty. No second mug waiting. No plate set out. Just the faint smell of coffee that had already been consumed. She walked to the patio door, stared at me through the glass. "Are we seriously not going to talk about this?" she asked. I did not look up from my laptop. Just kept scrolling through the asset evaluation spreadsheet. "Ethan," her voice had an edge now. "This is ridiculous." I took a sip of coffee. Kept reading. She stood there for another 30 seconds, waiting for me to blink first. When I didn't, she huffed and walked back inside. I heard the cabinet door slam. The microwave beep. Her car start in the driveway 10 minutes later. I did not move. That evening, I came home at 6. Vanessa was already there, reheating leftovers. I walked straight to the guest room, changed into workout clothes, went for a run, 5 miles. When I got back, I showered in the guest bathroom, made myself a turkey sandwich, ate it in my room while catching up on emails. At 9:15, she knocked. "Ethan, come on. This is childish." I did not answer. She tried the handle. Locked. "You cannot just lock yourself away every time you are upset," Vanessa said through the door. Silence. "Fine. Be that way." Her footsteps retreated down the hall. Day 3. The text started. "Can we talk after work?" I saw it. Did not open it. "You are really going to ignore me?" Did not open that one either. This is so petty. I let them stack up. Unread. Little digital breadcrumbs of her growing panic. By day 4, she changed tactics. When I came home, there was a bottle of wine on the counter. 2 glasses. She was sitting on the couch in the living room, magazine in her lap, trying to look casual. "Hey," she said as I walked in. Her tone was lighter, almost friendly. I thought maybe we could just talk, clear the air. I looked at the wine, at her, at the performance she was staging. "I do not drink on Thursdays," I said evenly, which was true, but thanks. I walked to the guest room. "Ethan, seriously?" Her voice rose. "I am trying here." I closed the door, locked it. She did not knock that night, but at 11:47, my phone buzzed. "I am sorry." "Okay. I did not mean it like that. I was just tired and stressed. Can we please move past this?" I read it, then set the phone face down and went to sleep. The next morning, Friday, I was gone before she woke up. Early breakfast meeting with a client in the city. Real meeting, not an excuse. But the timing worked in my favor. When I got home that evening, she was in the kitchen with a glass of gin. Not wine. Gin. That is when I knew the panic was setting in. Wine was her social drink. Gin was her father's drink. And she hated her father. "How long are you going to keep this up?" she demanded as I walked past. I paused, looked at her directly for the first time in days. "Keep what up?" I asked calmly. "This." She gestured at the space between us. The silent treatment. The locked doors. Acting like I do not exist. "You said you are not playing wife," I replied. "I am just honoring that boundary. Isn't that what you wanted?" Space. Her mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. "I did not mean." "You did," I said. "And I believed you." I walked to the guest room and shut the door. That night, she texted 4 more times. "Please. We need to fix this. I miss you. Answer me." I did not open a single one. Because the moment I responded, she would know I was still reachable. That there was still a string she could pull. But the theater was closed. The lights were off. And she was starting to realize she had been performing for an empty house all along. Saturday morning, 8:12 a.m., Vanessa shot upright in bed, phone glowing in her hand. I was already awake in the guest room, going through emails. The notification on her screen was simple. Blue icon. Familiar bank logo. Subject line, joint checking account. Closure confirmation. I heard her footsteps hit the hallway 30 seconds later. Fast. Angry. She did not knock. Just tried the handle. Still locked. "Ethan." Her voice was sharp. "Open this door now." I took a sip of coffee. Waited. "You closed the account." She was shouting now. "You emptied it." I opened the door. She stood there. Phone clutched like a weapon. Hair a mess. Still in her pajamas. "I restructured our finances," I said calmly. The joint account was closed. Funds were transferred to a new account under my name. "You are no longer an authorized user." Her face went pale. "You cannot do that." "I can. I was the primary account holder. You were authorized. I revoked that authorization." "Where is the money?" "Somewhere you do not have access to." "That is my money too." I corrected. "Now it is mine. Legally." She stared at me like I had just spoken in a foreign language. "What about bills?" "The mortgage. Insurance. All transferred to my name," I said. "Electric. Water. Gas. Car insurance. Phone plan." streaming services, everything. You are the primary account holder for nothing now. I paused. Let the reality sink in. You wanted independence, Vanessa. Here it is. I closed the door. She pounded on it. Ethan, this is not fair. Life rarely is, I called through the wood. But it is legal. Check with a lawyer if you want. Her footsteps retreated. I heard her in the kitchen. Laptop clicking open. Frantically trying to access accounts she had never paid attention to. Bills she had never seen. Passwords she had never needed because I had always handled everything. The utilities. The subscriptions. The car payments. The insurance premiums. The property taxes. I had built the infrastructure. Maintained it. Paid for it. And she had lived in it without a second thought. Like electricity and water just magically appeared because the universe owed her comfort. Now she was learning what it cost to run a life. By afternoon, she had managed to access 2 accounts. The rest were locked behind two-factor authentication routed to my email. She called me. I did not answer. She texted, "This is financial abuse." I replied, "No, this is financial equality. Welcome to adulthood." That evening, I came home to find her on the couch, surrounded by papers, bills, statements, spreadsheets she printed but clearly did not understand. She looked up at me, exhausted. "I cannot do all this," she said quietly. "You will figure it out," I said. "Or you will hire someone. Either way, it is not my problem anymore." "Ethan, please. I am sorry. Can we just reset? Go back to normal?" I looked at her, really looked, and I saw someone who was not sorry for what she had said. She was sorry for what it cost her. "There is no normal," I said. "There is just what happens next." I walked to the guest room, locked the door, and went back to reviewing contracts. Outside, the wind picked up. The house settled, and for the first time in 15 years, it did not feel like home. It felt like a property I was divesting from. Clean, methodical, final. By the end of the first week, Vanessa realized silence was not a phase. It was a strategy, and she needed reinforcements. Sunday morning, she called her sister, Stephanie. I heard her voice from the guest room, that forced casual tone she used when she was trying to control a narrative. "Hey Steph, it is me." "Yeah, I know. Listen, I just wanted to check in. Ethan has been acting really strange lately." I kept working on my laptop, reviewing the final documents for a healthcare merger closing on Tuesday. Numbers do not lie. People do. "No, nothing like that," Vanessa continued. "He is just distant. Cold. Won't talk to me. I don't know what I did." I almost laughed. She knew exactly what she did. 15 minutes later, her voice got quieter, tighter. "Okay. Yeah, I will figure it out. Thanks, Steph." The call ended abruptly. No warm goodbye, just the hollow click of someone who had been politely dismissed. That afternoon, she tried Colin, my best friend since college, the guy who stood up at our wedding, the man who had endured Vanessa's passive-aggressive comments at every barbecue for 15 years and still showed up with a smile. I was in the garage, organizing my tools, moving things I would need, leaving behind what I did not. Through the open window, I heard her voice. "Hey, Colin. It is Vanessa. Is Ethan okay? He has been really off this week." Pause. "Oh, he told you we are having issues?" Longer pause. Her voice tightened. "I see. Well, if you talk to him, can you tell him to call me?" Colin's response must have been short. 5 seconds later, she said, "Right. Okay. Thanks." Click. I continued sorting. Wrenches on the left. Screwdrivers on the right. Everything categorized. Everything accounted for. Monday, she got desperate. She called my barber. Pat has been cutting my hair for 12 years. He runs a 2-chair shop downtown. The kind of place where men go to think, not talk. I found out about the call later that afternoon when I stopped in for my usual trim. "Your wife called," Pat said. The cape snapped around my shoulders. "I know. Wanted to know if you had mentioned anything weird lately." He made air quotes with his scissors. "What did you tell her?" "That you wanted it short on the sides. Neat on top. Same as always." Pat grinned in the mirror. That was not what she meant, but it was all she was getting from me. I nodded. "Appreciate that. You doing all right?" He asked. Clippers buzzing to life. Better than I have been in years. That night, Vanessa was waiting in the living room when I got home. Arms crossed. "You turned everyone against me," she said. I set my keys on the counter. "I did not turn anyone. I just stopped carrying you." "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means people like me for me," I said. "Not because I was your husband." "You are just figuring that out now?" Her jaw clenched. "So this is about ego. About proving you are better than me." "No," I said calmly. "This is about me finally believing I deserve better than someone who treats marriage like a part-time job." I walked to the guest room. She did not follow. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was in a conference room downtown finalizing terms for a tech acquisition. My phone buzzed. Lily. I excused myself and stepped into the hallway. Hey, Lily. Everything okay? Can we meet? Her voice was tight, controlled. Just you and me. Coffee or something? Of course. When? Today? After your work? I checked my watch. 3:30. I can do 5. The usual place. Yeah. Thanks, Ethan. She hung up before I could ask what this was about. At 5 o'clock, I walked into the cafe near her campus. Lily was already there, nursing an iced latte. Laptop closed in front of her. She looked tired, stressed. When she saw me, she tried to smile. It did not reach her eyes. I sat down across from her. What is going on? She took a breath. Mom called me last night 3 times. Then texted me 15 times. I waited. She wanted me to talk to you. To convince you to. I don't know. Come back. Stop ignoring her. She was crying now. Lily looked down at her cup. I had never heard her cry like that. What did you tell her? I asked quietly. I told her I would talk to you. She paused. But honestly, Ethan, I do not even know what to say. She won't tell me what happened. Just that you are being cruel. That you are punishing her for no reason. I leaned back in my chair. Did she tell you what she said to me? No. She just said she made one comment, and you freaked out. I nodded slowly. Pulled out my phone. Opened my voice memo app. I had started recording our conversations 2 weeks ago. Not for court. For clarity. For moments like this. I found the file from that night. Hit play. Vanessa's voice came through. Clear. Cold. Don't touch me. I am not playing wife tonight. Then mine. Perfect. You never will be again. Lily's face went still. She stared at the phone like I had just shown her something obscene. I stopped the recording. That is what she said. When you tried to hug her. I nodded. Like I always did. Lily sat back. Eyes wide. She said that word for word. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up at me. And I saw something shift in her expression. Not anger. Understanding. Ethan, she said carefully. I need to tell you something. I waited. Last year, Mom told me she thought you were settling. That you stayed with her because it was comfortable. Not because you loved her. She said you were not ambitious enough. That you would never really be successful. My jaw tightened. She said that to you? Yeah. Multiple times. She would compare you to her friends' husbands. Their houses. Their jobs. She made it sound like you were some kind of, I don't know, charity case. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not surprise. Confirmation. Lily took a breath. There is something else. Go on. She has an account. A separate one. At a credit union in the suburbs. She calls it her escape fund. I froze. A separate account? Yeah. She told me about it over Christmas. She said a smart woman always keeps a stash. Just in case. How much is in it? I don't know the exact amount. But she puts money in it every month. From the household budget. She bragged that she pads the grocery bills. Overestimates the utility costs when she tells you the totals. I did the mental math instantly. The grocery budget was $2,000 a month. Utilities averaged $600. If she was skimming even 20% for 3 years. She has been stealing from me, I said. Lily nodded. Tears running down her face. She said she was waiting for you to burn out. She said eventually you would hit a wall, and she wanted to be ready to leave with half. I reached across the table and took Lily's hand. Her fingers were cold. Thank you for telling me, I said. I felt like I was betraying her, Lily whispered. But then I heard that recording. And I realized, she betrayed you first. Years ago I said, Ethan, I am not picking sides, she said. But if I were, I would pick you. Because you actually showed up. You paid for my tuition. You taught me how to drive. You were there. We sat in silence for a moment. The cafe noise buzzed around us. But inside our booth, everything was still. Do you have a plan? Lily asked. Are you divorcing her? Yes. She absorbed that. Then nodded. Good. I blinked. Good? Good, Ethan. I have watched you take care of her for 15 years. Pay for everything. Fix everything. Handle everything. And she has never once said thank you. Not really. I squeezed her hand. Whatever you need, Lily. I am here. That does not change. When I got home that night, the house was dark. Vanessa was sitting at the kitchen table. One light on. A half-empty glass of gin in front of her. She knew. Mothers always know when their children have defected. What did you tell her? She demanded. The truth, I said. You turned my own daughter against me. No, I said calmly. You did that yourself. When you decided to open a secret account at the credit union. The glass slipped from her hand. It hit the table. Did not break. Just rolled. Spilling gin across the wood like a dark stain spreading on a map. How? She whispered. Her face was gray. Asset tracing is my job, Vanessa. Did you really think you could hide money from a forensic accountant? It was not stealing, she stammered. It was security. It was fraud, I corrected. And tomorrow, My lawyer will be classifying it as theft. I walked to the guest room. Behind me, I heard her start to cry. Real sobs this time. Not manipulation. Not performance. Just the sound of a woman watching her safety net turn into a noose. The letter arrived on a Thursday. Plain envelope. No return address. Postmarked from Denver. Inside, a single handwritten note on hotel stationery. Ethan, we have not met, but I think we should. I am in town next week for business. Wednesday, 6 p.m., Miller's Tavern downtown. I will be at the bar. David. I stared at the note for a long time. David. Vanessa's first husband. Lily's biological father. The man who had walked out on them when Lily was 2 years old and never looked back. Or so the story went. What the hell did he want? Wednesday came. I arrived at Miller's at 5:50. Scanned the bar. A man in his early 50s sat alone at the far end, nursing a scotch. Graying hair. Expensive watch. Tired eyes. He saw me. Nodded. Gestured to the empty stool beside him. I sat. The bartender came over. Bourbon, I said. Neat. David waited until my drink arrived. Then he raised his glass. To bad decisions and worse wives, he said. I did not drink to that. Just looked at him. You are wondering why I am here, David said. The thought crossed my mind. He took a sip. Lily called me 2 weeks ago. First time in 8 years. Told me you and Vanessa are splitting up. We are good, I said. He set his glass down. Let me save you some time and a lot of money. I know what she told you about me. That I was a deadbeat. That I abandoned them. That I was cruel or distant. Something like that, I said. It is all a lie, David said. All of it. I waited. Vanessa and I were married for 4 years. The first 2 were fine. The last 2 were hell. She would ice me out for days. Belittle me in front of friends. Make me feel like I was never good enough. Never earning enough. And then one night, I came home from work and tried to kiss her hello. My stomach dropped. I knew what was coming. She stepped back, David continued. His voice flat. She said, I am not playing wife tonight. Like it was a role she could just clock out of. I felt the air leave my lungs. I left the next day, David said. Filed for divorce a week later. She got full custody of Lily because I did not fight it. I was broken. Burned out. I just wanted away from her. But you disappeared, I said. Lily thinks you did not care. I sent child support every month for 16 years. David said. Never missed a payment. I stared at him. Vanessa told Lily I never sent a dime, he said. She pocketed the money and lied. Why didn't you fight that? Because I was a coward. He admitted. I did not want to go back into that courtroom. Did not want to see her face. So I sent the checks and told myself Lily would figure it out when she was older. He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. Slid it across the polished wood of the bar. I opened it. Scanned images. Bank statements. Years of them. Highlighted line items. Child support payment. $1,800. Every single month. From 2004 until Lily turned 18. I did the math in my head. $345,600. Jesus, I muttered. She does this, David said quietly. She finds good men. Stable men. Men who will take care of her. Then she drains them until there is nothing left. When you are empty, she moves on. Why are you telling me this? Because Lily deserves to know the truth, he said. And because you deserve to know you are not crazy. This is not on you, Ethan. It is her. It has always been her. I took a long drink. Let it burn. Does Lily know you are here? Not yet. But I would like to see her. If she is willing, I will talk to her, I said. David nodded. One more thing. When you file for divorce, get a forensic accountant. Vanessa is hiding money. She did it to me. I guarantee she is doing it to you. I nodded. I already found the credit union account. David laughed. A short, dry sound. That is just the decoy, Ethan. Look for the crypto wallets. And the offshore holding in the Cayman Islands. She learned that trick from her father. I froze. Offshore? She moved $50,000 of our savings there right before I left, David said. I never got it back. Do not make my mistake. We sat in silence for a moment. 2 men. Different generations. Same trap. Thanks, I said finally. Do not thank me, David replied. Just get out while you still can. And tell Lily. Tell her I tried. I left the bar at 7:30. Drove home in silence. The city lights blurred past. When I walked in, Vanessa was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She did not look up. I did not say a word. Just went to the guest room, locked the door, and called my lawyer. I need a forensic audit, I said when he picked up. Not just domestic. International. Ethan, that is expensive, he warned. Do it, I said. Check for accounts in the Caymans. And subpoena her bank records going back 16 years. Specifically for deposits matching $1,800 a month. There was a pause on the line. What is that for? Evidence of fraud, I said, and theft from a minor. I hung up. I walked to the window and looked out at the driveway. Vanessa's car was parked there. A luxury SUV I paid for. Insurance I paid for. Gas I paid for. She was sitting inside the house I bought, eating food I bought, thinking she was the victim. She had stolen over $300,000 from her own daughter. She had painted a good man as a villain to cover her tracks. She had lived a lie for 2 decades, and she thought the silent treatment was the worst thing that was going to happen to her. I opened my laptop. I started drafting an email to Lily. Subject line, the truth. Attached were the photos I had taken of David's bank statements in the bar. I hesitated over the send button. This would destroy her relationship with her mother. It would burn everything down. Then I remembered Vanessa's face when she stepped back from me. The coldness. I am not playing wife. She had burned it down first. I was just clearing the ashes. I hit send. 10 minutes later, I heard a scream from the living room. Not anger. Not frustration. Pure, unadulterated shock. Lily must have called her. I stayed in the guest room. I put on my noise-canceling headphones. I played classical music. Loud. I did not need to hear the conversation. I knew exactly how it would go. Vanessa would deny. Then she would deflect. Then she would blame David. Then she would blame me. But the paper trail did not care about blame. Numbers are the only language that cannot be gaslit. The door handle to the guest room rattled. Violently. Ethan, open this door. She was shrieking. I turned the volume up. She pounded on the wood. I know you saw him. You had no right. That was private. I closed my eyes. Liability, identified. Risk assessed. The pounding stopped eventually. I took off the headphones. The house was silent. My phone buzzed. A text from Lily. I am coming over. I am bringing the police. I stared at the screen. The police? A second text followed. She is not just a thief, Ethan. I checked the account numbers from the statements you sent. The money isn't in her escape fund. It is gone. I stood up. If the money was gone, where did it go? And then it hit me. The business trips Vanessa took twice a year. To Vegas. To Atlantic City. To Macau. She wasn't investing the stolen money. She wasn't saving it. She was gambling it. I unlocked the door and walked out into the hallway. Vanessa was standing at the top of the stairs, holding a suitcase. Where are you going? I asked. She looked at me. Her eyes were wild. Makeup smeared. I am leaving, she said. Before she gets here. You are running, I said. I am surviving. She spat. You ruined everything. I had a system. I had it under control. You gambled it, I said. Lily's money. My money. Her face twisted. I was going to win it back. I just needed more time. One big win, and I would have put it all back. No one would have known. The front door opened downstairs. Lily walked in. Behind her were 2 officers in uniform. Vanessa dropped the suitcase. It tumbled down the stairs, thumping against each step like a gavel striking over and over again. Part 3. Done. The ghost had spoken, and the haunting was over. Now came the judgment. The legal system moved slow, but the markets moved fast. Vanessa was still in the house. Her lawyer had managed to keep her out of a holding cell for now. She was out on bail, pending a hearing for grand larceny and fraud. Lily had pressed charges. The evidence David provided was undeniable, but Vanessa was delusional. She believed she could talk her way out of it. She thought she just needed money to pay David back, to hire a better lawyer, to make the problem go away. She was drowning, and she was looking for a raft. On Tuesday morning, she thought she found a luxury yacht. I was in the guest room reviewing acquisition documents. My phone buzzed. A notification from Forbes. Tech startup Neural Sync acquired by Microsoft for $47 million. Early investors see major returns. I clicked the article. Scrolled down. There it was. My name listed among the seed investors who had backed the company years ago. I leaned back in my chair. I had put in $25,000 back in 2009. It was a calculated risk on a friend's artificial intelligence project. I had mentioned it to Vanessa once, right before our wedding. She had rolled her eyes. She called it throwing money away on nerd nonsense. She told me I should have spent it on a better honeymoon suite. I checked the payout schedule attached to the email from the firm. My share of the acquisition was $4.2 million. The wire transfer would hit my account in 30 days. I sat there, letting the number settle in my mind. For $0.2 million. After capital gains tax, roughly $2.8 million. I did not feel excitement. I felt relief. This was the war chest. This was the exit fee. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Fast. Excited. The door to the guest room flew open. Vanessa stood there. She was holding her iPad. Her face was flushed. Not with shame. With greed. You are in Forbes, she said. Her voice was breathless. I looked at her. I am working, Vanessa. She walked into the room. Ignoring the boundary I had set weeks ago, she turned the screen toward me. It says here you are getting a payout. From that AI company. I nodded once. Yes. How much? She demanded. I looked at the spreadsheet on my screen. $4.2 million. Vanessa made a sound. A gasp that was half laugh, half sob. She dropped onto the edge of the bed. Oh my God. Ethan, do you know what this means? We can pay David back. We can pay the legal fees. We can settle with Lily. We can fix this. I stared at her. We? She smiled. A desperate, fractured smile. We are married, Ethan. Community property. Illinois is an equitable distribution state. That money is half mine. She was already spending it in her head, calculating the bail money, the restitution, the shopping spree to soothe her ego. Actually, no, I said. Her smile faltered. What? I pulled a file from my desk drawer. It was not the divorce papers. It was older. The leather binder was cracked with age. I opened it to the signature page. Do you remember July 4th, 2009? I asked. She blinked. Why? We were at the Henderson's Lake house. You were drinking champagne. You were laughing with your friends on the dock. My lawyer came by with a document. Vanessa frowned, trying to access a memory she had probably deleted years ago. You told him you did not want to read boring paperwork on a holiday. I continued. You said you trusted me. You said, just show me where to sign so I can get back to the party. I turned the document around. Her signature was there. Loopy. Careless. The ink slightly smeared where her hand had brushed it. This is a prenuptial agreement, I said. She went pale. We do not have a prenup. You never asked for one. I did. And you signed it. Clause 14, Section B. I tapped the paragraph. Any assets acquired prior to the marriage and any appreciation or dividends derived from those specific assets remain the sole and separate property of the original owner. I looked up at her. I made the neural sync investment in 2009, 6 months before we got married. The $4.2 million is the appreciation of a premarital asset. Vanessa grabbed the binder. Her hands were shaking. She scanned the page, her eyes darting back and forth. This cannot be legal. It is ironclad, I said. You had independent counsel available. You waived it. It is notarized. It is filed. She looked up at me. The panic was rising again, choking her. But I need that money, she whispered. If I do not pay back the funds I took, I am going to prison. I took the binder back, closed it with a soft snap. Then you should not have stolen $300,000 from your daughter to play blackjack, I said. She stood up. The iPad clattered to the floor. You knew, she hissed. You knew this money was coming. That is why you filed now. You tricked me. I did not trick you, I said. I gave you a contract. You were too busy drinking champagne to read it. That is not fraud, Vanessa. That is negligence. You cannot do this to me. She screamed. I am your wife. No, I said. You are a liability. And I have just liquidated my position. She lunged at me, hands clawing, nails aiming for my face. I caught her wrists. Easily. She was weak, hollowed out by panic and gin. I held her there for a second, looking into her eyes. I saw the fear, the realization that the safety net she thought she had, me, was gone. I pushed her back gently. She stumbled into the hallway. Get out of my room, I said. She stood there, breathing hard. You are a monster, she spat. A cold, calculating monster. I preferred prepared, I said. But if monster helps you sleep in your cell, feel free to use it. I closed the door, locked it. She pounded on the wood, screaming, crying, begging. Ethan, please. Just half. Just $1 million. I will sign anything. I will leave. Just give me enough to stay out of jail. I put my headphones back on. I opened my banking app. I set up a new alert. Incoming wire. $4.2 million. I watched the cursor blink. She had called me boring once. She had called me safe. She had told her friends I was a paycheck, not a partner. She was right about one thing. I was a paycheck. But I was not hers anymore. The screaming in the hallway stopped eventually. I heard her slide down the door, sobbing. She was realizing that the golden parachute she thought would save her had a hole in it. A hole she had cut herself 16 years ago with a pen she didn't bother to read with. I went back to work. I had a portfolio to rebalance. The invitation to the annual Thornhill Foundation Gala sat on my desk. Heavy cardstock, gold lettering. It was the social event of the season for Chicago's financial elite. For 12 years, Vanessa and I had attended together. It was her stage, her spotlight, the one night a year where she felt like royalty. This year I was going, but not with her. I arrived at the Grand Bellamy Hotel at 7:15. The ballroom was already full. I adjusted my tie. I felt different, lighter, Like I had finally stopped carrying a rucksack full of stones I had not realized were there. I was not alone. Standing next to me was Sarah Torres. Sarah was a venture capitalist I had known for years. She was brilliant, sharp. She understood markets better than I did. She was the one who had introduced me to the Neural Sync founders back in 2009. When I called her 3 days ago to tell her the news about the acquisition, she did not ask how much I made. She asked what I was going to build next. That is the difference between a partner and a dependent. We walked into the room. Heads turned. Not because of me, but because the regulars were confused. They expected the usual pairing. Ethan and Vanessa. The checkbook and the socialite. Seeing me with Sarah changed the equation. Then I saw her. Vanessa was standing near the bar. She was wearing a black dress. She looked thin, tired, but she was holding a glass of champagne, laughing with the wife of a bank CEO, trying to project stability, trying to pretend she was not out on bail for grand larceny, trying to pretend she was not facing prison time for stealing from her own child. She saw me. Her smile froze. Then her eyes shifted to Sarah. The glass in her hand tilted. Champagne sloshed over the rim. She excused herself from the group and marched toward us. I could see the adrenaline hitting her system. She was cornered, and she decided to attack. Ethan, she said. Her voice was too loud. Why are you here? I looked at her calmly. I am a donor, Vanessa. I have a table. She glared at Sarah. And who is this? Sarah extended a hand. I am Sarah Torres. We met at the tech summit 3 years ago. Vanessa ignored the hand. She looked at me. You brought a date? To our anniversary gala? We are not celebrating an anniversary, I said. We are pending litigation. People were starting to stare. The low hum of conversation near us died down. Vanessa noticed the audience. She lowered her voice. A hiss. You are humiliating me, she said. You cut off my cards. You turned my daughter against me. Now you parade your mistress in front of my friends? Sarah laughed. A short, genuine sound. I am not his mistress, Vanessa. I am his business partner. And unlike you, I pay for my own drinks. Vanessa recoiled. Her face went red. Get out. She snapped at me. Leave. Now. Before I call security. I checked my watch. 7:30. Right on schedule. I am not leaving, I said. But you are. I nodded to a man standing near the kitchen entrance. He was wearing a tuxedo. He looked like a waiter. He was not a waiter. He walked over. Smooth. Professional. He held a thick manila envelope in his hand. Mrs. Carlson? He asked. Vanessa looked at him. Confused. Yes? You have been served, he said. He placed the envelope in her hand. Vanessa looked down at it. Then up at me. What is this? The divorce decree, I said. And an eviction notice. Her mouth opened. Eviction? The house is in my name, Vanessa. I listed it for sale this morning. My company purchased the asset to liquidate it. You have 48 hours to vacate the premises. She started to shake. You cannot do that. That is my home. It is a property, I corrected. And the locks are being changed on Sunday at noon. She looked around the room. The bank CEO, the investors, the socialites. They were all watching. They had heard eviction. They had heard served. The facade she had spent 15 years building crumbled in 10 seconds. Ethan, please, she whispered. Not here. You chose the venue, I said. You wanted to play the role of the victim in public. I am just giving the audience the closing scene. Security, I said to the man in the tuxedo. 2 uniformed guards stepped out from the shadows of the hallway. They had been waiting. Please escort Mrs. Carlson to the exit, I said. She is trespassing. Vanessa looked at the guards. Then at me. She saw no mercy. No hesitation. Just the cold, hard balance sheet of a man who had finally cut his losses. She did not scream. She did not fight. She just deflated. She turned and walked between the guards. Her heels clicked on the marble floor. The sound got quieter and quieter until the heavy double doors swallowed her whole. Silence hung in the room for a moment. Then the string quartet started playing again. Conversations resumed. The world moved on. Sarah looked at me. You okay? I took a deep breath. The air in the ballroom tasted clean. I am, I said. I looked at the empty space where Vanessa had stood. I felt nothing. No anger. No regret. Just the satisfaction of a clean audit. The liabilities were gone. The fraud was exposed. The accounts were balanced. Lily was safe. The money was secure. And I was free. I turned to Sarah. Do you want to get out of here? I asked. Grab a burger? Maybe talk about that new AI integration you mentioned? Sarah smiled. I thought you would never ask. We walked out of the hotel. Into the cool night air of Chicago. I did not look back. There was nothing behind me worth checking. The deal was closed. And for the first time in 15 years, the profit was all mine.